All right, so I get all my stuff laid out on the table, all the stuff I pretty much use, products and stuff like that. I'm gonna show you what I use. Okay. Maybe I should do a segment called Timmy's Tips, like this one. Okay, so I got it in putty. So when you do putty, one end all the way to the other. You can put it on however you want. But then when you're ready to do it, go from one end, smooth it all the way without stopping. Same thing with your edge, all the way without stopping. You don't want to do it like here and then put a little bit here and a little bit here because you get freaking lines in it. You want it nice and consistent all the way across. I put tape in here because when I put it on there, hold on, just in case I got bondo inside there, it peels right off before it gets hard. All right. Ta-da. So every once in a while, my wife will ask me to do something. So I bought a lot of cars. Okay, I have a lot of them. Well, not a lot. I got like 4 Camaros, 4 Firebirds. But anyways, so whenever she asks me to do something, I say, "Oh, I can't. I got to go outside and move my cars. I gotta move them out of the way. They're in the way." And it works. You guys should try it. Buy a couple junk cars and say, "Oh, I got to move my cars." So she hasn't also caught on yet as to where am I moving the cars. She hasn't asked that. Where are you moving them? Or why am I moving them? Actually, she did just start catching on. She goes, every time I ask you to do something, you tell me you got to move cars. So I'm gonna have to change up my strategy. You have to buy a couple boats. You know, because stuff sometimes is just in the way. You got to move it. Okay, this is a segment we like to call So, Tracy K, the girl, asks, well, how do you get the sandpaper on this piece of stick? Like I said, take the paper, thing, or she's also said, well, the paint stick, what if you have to do a smaller part? The paint stick's too big. Then you take this, smaller piece, just like that. That's it. Plus, you can break this up too if you want, smaller. Just so you know, it's how all the products I use really don't need any more than this to do most of your body work. I'll show you my paint guns, all my little tools I have. All right, and probably a link to a spray gun I use right there, right there. I've had that one for probably like 8 years, that spray gun, and I've had other ones I use for like a year or two, 6 months, and they're junk. That one has held up for 8 years. I got 2 of them, one for clear, one for paint, both with the 1.3 tip, spray tip. So anyways, so I'm gonna get into this, show you guys the products I use. You ready? Here we go. Oh, dang it. All right, so general overview. Rubber gloves. Cheap ones don't matter. They rip, doesn't matter, they throw away. That's the fiberglass I use. I seem to like it very well. This is my plastic filler. I use that stuff. Probably a little more than, I don't know. It just works good, sands good, and I like it. So then I use this for my final. So that's my first. After I fix all my welds, put that over there, then I grind that down. Use that for my filler. Then I'll go over this with my final. It's nice and watery. It's like, that's my final putty. And I sand that. Hold on. So anyways, I usually sand my that stuff. I might use the grinder at first, but I'll sand it with 36, and then I'll top coat it with this afterwards. Probably start the sanding with 36, and I'll switch over to some 80 grit, And I have a lot, well, almost tripped. I have a lot of stuff on rolls here. I have different rolls of stuff. Different rolls of sandpaper. I should have that on the table too, actually. These are my different rolls. So I'll have an 80 grit on a roll. It'll roll out to like that. So that's my 80 grit, a 36 grit. I'll start with that. And usually I just wrap it right on this board, okay? Just wrap it right around, see? Just fold it right over on both sides and I sand it like that. Or you can put it on this handy dandy tool. Like that, it's the same width, same as that, same size. We have little teeth. This one broke, but I still use it. It like clipped in there, so you clip it inside the teeth there, and wrap it around. So that's how I sand that with my bodywork. Always feather my stuff out with 80 grit. This is the product I use. It works very well. They sent me this stuff. It's like, yeah, it's okay, but this stuff seems to work really good. So I use that, and then I got my other grit. So I have 80, 180, 320. Pretty much that's all I use for DA stuff on my DA. Had this for a while. This one's actually lasted a long time. Show you that one. I believe this is just a Chief. Got that from, it's my second one. I got that from, I think it was Harbor Freight, along with this trusty guy. You know where I got this thing? Same place. 15 bucks. I don't know if it's still $15, but that was Harbor Freight. What else we got? Seam sealer that I use in a caulking gun tube seems to work really well. My guide coat, after I put my primer on, I guide coat it, sand it with 320 is how I block everything out. With 320, after I've primed, wet sand it with, 320. If you rip these pieces into thirds, the long way, they fit on those boards right there. And then after I sand that, I'll guide coat it and go to 600. And really you don't need any more than that. Then you clean your panel with this to get all the wax off it, grease, any grease and stuff, with these lint-free wipes I use, these ones. And then before I paint, I tack everything off with a sticky tack rag. Before color, you do not need to sand between base coats. You base coat, then you put another base coat on. You don't sand in between base coats. You don't sand in between clear coats. So it's base coat, it'll stick to each other. Put it on. So this is the gun I've used. It's a mess right now. This one is this is my clear gun. It looks like a mess, but I tell you what, I clean it every time on the inside. And this one is I use this for all my primers. I like this because all the tips come off of it. And you can buy tips. So this tip comes off. This is one size that they have. And it only snaps. And you just put a new one on. It snaps right in. You push these two buttons. Snaps right in there. You get a new tip. So it's like having a new gun all the time. So this is a little more expensive than this gun. But it's nice because anytime I need tips, I think these are like 25 bucks and you get 4 tips. And they last quite a while, so I like them. They have all different kinds. 1.2, that's for like color clear. They have a 1.8, that's for primer. 2.0, that's for like filling polyester if you need to really fill something and block it out. Then there's just these. This is a 180, how I step it up with 80 grit, then the 180. This is more of like a 120. Does it say on there? Because this one, sometimes I'll start with that with my putty, and then I'll finish it with this 180, which is much finer. And I believe this has a number in it. This one say 180 anything? It just says 180. And this one I think it says 180, but it's definitely not. This is definitely coarser than this. I like to finish everything off with 180. Then if a 320, I'll sand it afterwards if I want to. Need your tapes. This is usually a pretty good tape I use, and my tape machine, which I use. You really only need this size, an 18-inch. You can buy just a one bay, like a one bank one, that'll stand on a table. That's all you really need. So that's all the stuff I use. Red Scotch pad after I getting ready for the primer, and my gray Scotch pad is the panels I sand with some scuffing clean, which I forgot to bring out here. So I say Timmy's tips, Timmy time, these things, because I feel I have a personal relationship with you guys. Anyways, people who are real good friends of mine, I've recently figured this out. If you call me Timmy, you're pretty close. We're pretty close. Are we ready?
You're ready.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, again, I'm uncomfortable, but like, subscribe, comment if you want to. Remember, it's free. Free, free, free. Say goodbye to Max.
Goodbye, guys.
He helped me with the last, we're doing the last video right now. That's it, so.
Max, do you have
He'll
anything
be back.
to say?
Don't listen to him.
Why don't you tell everyone where
I'll
you're
be back.
going?
I'm going to Arizona for college. Finish up my bachelor's degree, but I'll be back.
He'll be back. See, he's not leaving you.
He'll be back. Very good. Okay, that's Max.